Well, welcome everybody. My name is Randy Lavick. I teach digital, social, and mobile marketing at Northwestern. I also do content creation and digital marketing for the professional services group. And I also work with the entrepreneurs that are in our, that's called the garage, to help them build their marketing strategies for the companies they want to develop. And what I want to do is to take you through a course that I just put up on Thinkific. And the reason I did that is that it's a small, pretty fast course. It'll take you probably a month or so to get through it, but you can go through it faster. But it's really the first module that I teach at Northwestern to the marketers, both the graduate and undergraduate marketers, as well as to the entrepreneurs, because I find that a lot of people don't really understand how to target a market and don't understand that there are tools out there that are amazing in what they can tell you, both in terms of quantifying a market, but more importantly, to develop insights into the market. In other words, how do they use technology? What's the most preferred way that they want to respond to you? What are their life stages and what lifestyles do they have? What is their household like? What's their income like? What's their education like? All of those are available on systems that you can sign up for or just be a part of or find, and can use those forever. And the amazing part that's happened since we have gone through the technical revolution and that we've got now the online databases and cloud-based computing is that these systems are updated every single hour. They are constantly being enhanced, and they are developed to help you to target a market and really understand who they are. And so the purpose of this course is really to give you those tools and to give you the templates and the insights and the education you'll need to develop your skills at targeting markets and then actually do it. So whether you're doing it for your own business or for your passions, or whether you're doing it because you're a consultant and you want to know how different markets work, that's what this course is designed to do. And so what I thought I'd do is I'll take you through some slides. As we go through it, if you have questions, please ask either by unmuting yourself, or you can ask through the chat window. I'll keep that open. And I'll show you a little bit about what you're going to be doing in the course and how it's all going to work. So let me start up my little PowerPoint here. So basically what we want to do is today in marketing, everything is driven by metrics. I'll be sure you mute your phone, please, or you mute your system. And so the key is that with metrics, we can we can really plan our markets and then make them work. And so the purpose of this course is to do the first step, which is how do you target a market, identify exactly how many people there are, and then go through evaluation using, say, your first order amount that you would get to say, here's how big this market is. And especially if you're an entrepreneur, you're starting up a company, you really need to think about how you can show the investors or potential investors exactly how big the market is. And so that's what this course is designed to do. This is the first module I teach at Northwestern to my students to say, before we start going into doing marketing, let's define who these people are. Let's identify and gain insights as to what they do and how they work. And then we can build it out from there. And the thing that I'll show you is it doesn't matter whether it's a business-to-business market or a business-to-consumer market. Both can be targeted internationally with the tools you'll be given here, as well as in the US. And so I said the focus of this course is on you, and it really is. It's just like the Coursera course. Everything is designed to give you templates and instructions and ideas and to go through and really build out a target market or target markets in anything you want to go after, any markets that you want to develop. And it's designed to be international, but it's also designed to be everything from hyper local, or you'll actually see tools where you can say, show me all the households within a 2-block area, or all the businesses in a 2-block area around my shop. And you could actually define it from there, all the way up to global markets. And so as we go through the course, you're going to see there are quizzes, but the quizzes are really designed just to make sure you are understanding the things I'm giving you. And there's also surveys that we have all the way through the course that allows you to, that asks you questions about how you're applying the knowledge you're gaining. Because this is my first time through it as an online course, other than Northwestern. And the other thing that we do is I have the discussion boards that are built into every module in the course, not to test you. The whole idea of this is to have fun, to learn some really useful things, and make sure that it does apply to you. So as we go through the course, I'm going to be learning along with you. And this won't be the last of our sync sessions where you can come and participate if you'd like, to ask questions. And the whole idea is to give you tools that you could use in the course and beyond the course to make everything, to really define the target markets that you want to develop. These are all state-of-the-art systems. Most of them have been updated in 2019, if not early 2020. I will be giving you some things on how markets are changing as we, going through the pandemic. But the numbers here and the things you're going to see are real time and actually are very actionable. All of the systems we're going to be using, you could actually order email names or direct mail addresses or telephone numbers from them. And these companies, that's what they do, is they supply information, and the tools they give you are just ways to show you what's available. And so I work with a lot of entrepreneurs at Northwestern. And one of the things I find is that a lot of entrepreneurs and some marketers really don't understand or have great ideas, great understanding of how to target their markets. A lot of times they use experience. So I've been in this industry, I know, or they use static research, or they use an educated guess or a market analysis. And the thing I really try to emphasize is that doesn't make a lot of sense with all of the systems that are available today. Because trying to just guesstimate a market oftentimes leaves you in a really vulnerable position, especially if you don't understand the market as well as you think you do. What happens is you invest a lot of time and effort and do it in a way that doesn't give you a return. And so a lot of the teams that I work with at Northwestern, once they use these tools, both for business to business or business to consumer marketing, suddenly realize that some of their assumptions weren't correct. And it allows them to really tailor in the marketing. And so what a lot of them don't know is that there are these online free systems that allow you to identify any market from hyper-local to global. It's updated daily, and they're constantly enhanced with new information, which I'll give you not only the tools, but also show you how to log into these systems and become a part of them to keep up to date. They're all real-time actual count systems. So when you see that there's 1,256,825 households that are in your target market, you could actually order those. And so so it's not approximation. These are online cloud-based systems that give you the real number that you could essentially take to the bank. And so you can actually order these, which I'm not telling you to do that, but they're out there. That's how accurate these systems are. So what I want to do is to take you through a little bit about what we're going to go through in the class, answer any questions that you have, and get everything just rolling. So the class itself is one that you can take at any speed you want. There's no time limit on the class. And so go through the modules as you want. You'll see there's both business to business and business to consumer modules within it. And one of the things I'm going to do up front is to challenge you. If you're thinking about targeting a consumer market, as you go through the course, pick a business that you might buy your product, not because I want you to change, but because I want you to experience the consumer side, but also the business side of marketing. And the same thing's true if you're a business-to-business marketer. imagine your clients, who they sell to, and let's target that market as well. Because a lot of companies today are moving from push marketing, where you're trying to push your product up a channel, okay, or up a sales channel, to pull marketing, where they go and they get the consumer excited and they pull demand through the system. So I'm going to ask you to do both of them as we go through it. But the course is designed to explore several types of targeting systems that are used in the United States and worldwide today. The first thing we're going to look at is cloud-based segmentation systems. There are online data systems that are every household in the United States and in Canada, that we can use to target very specific markets. And they're both business to business and business to consumer. And so what we do is we can go in to these cloud-based segmentation systems and say, give me all the households that have teenage children who are this income band, who have this education and are interested in casino gambling and traveling and whatever, gourmet cooking. And it'll tell you exactly how many people there are and exactly how many households there are in those target markets. Then we can go through and sub-segment those to build out a more complete profile of the market. We'll show you how to do that. The second one we're going to use are national and international cluster systems. Essentially what clusters are is they take a lot of demography and they make a group of people that are very similar to each other and that are different from all the other clusters you can do. And I'll show you an example of that here in a bit. The nice part about cluster systems is they then go to those clusters and they survey them. And so you can go out and identify a target market you want to develop, both business and consumer. And you can go in and it'll show you what TV programs are they watching right now, or cable programs. What things do they read? What things are they interested in? How do they adapt to new technology? What is the best way to get them to connect with them? And so these cluster systems gives you massive amount of insights. I'll show you some here in a bit that will allow us to really define a target market, but also to understand it. That understanding is really important when you're creating content that you really want to get their attention. By understanding the life stage, the life cycle they're in, who they are, and get a good picture of who they are is a great way to make that connection. The third one we'll do is online behavioral targeting systems. One of the advantages of systems like Facebook and Google is that they can identify people who are in active buying mode for a specific type of product or service. And so we'll use Facebook in their audience identification system to show you how to do that, how you can identify people based on their behaviors and their active interests, as well as their demography and the characteristics of their household or their business, to build it out. So we're going to go through all three of these major systems and give you give you some of the best ones in the industry. So one of the reasons it's important is today marketing is all insights and funnels and metrics. If you use, for example, Google Ads, or you use Facebook, the first thing it asks you is, what is the objective you're trying to achieve? And then as you go through and you are identifying target markets, they tell you the probability that, what is going to be the response rate and the click-through rate, and how is it going to work. And so the important thing about funnels is that it shows you what the consumer, whether it's a business or a consumer system, what the people have to go through to become a customer of yours. And by outlining that, it gives you a lot of insights. So a funnel basically starts with the total market, which is what we're going to focus on in this class. And then you do marketing programs to them. It could be a pay-per-click, it could be SEO, it could be any of the strategies that we cover in the social media marketing program. And what you do is you take the customer on a journey, and they will see, let's say, your pay-per-click, and then how many of them click through, and of those that click through, how many of them go to the next step and look at your product, and of those and so forth. You roll it through, and the objective is at the bottom, you want to have revenue, and the goal is to have the revenue bigger than your marketing investments and that gives you profitability. And so at Northwestern, one of the things that we do is we actually build out a sales funnel for any client that we're working on, and my students work on clients in every class. But we start with the total market, and if you've taken the social media marketing program, this will look familiar. But the important thing is you need to know how big it is and what the average sale price is to give revenue potential for the entire market segment. You then go through and do your marketing costs, your marketing programs. This is for a year, that's aggregated. This particular company, we're taking them to a landing page where they have to do registration, then they come visit the product, and then here's the number of new purchasers. And when I'm putting together a course on how to build these funnels, but these numbers are available. And what you have are KPIs, which are key performance indicators. So for the total market, we're going to have 1.75 hit our landing page. Of those, 85% of complete registration. Of those, 65 are going to look at this particular featured product. And of those, 55% are going to purchase. So I have a revenue at the bottom of 1.2 million against $741,000 of investment. And that's good. That gives me a profit. And so the whole idea of the funnel has to start with the total market. And so that's going to be the focus of our program. But the whole purpose of it is if you're an entrepreneur and you want to build a company, you need to be able to put these numbers together to show the investor or the potential angel investors how this is all going to work and how it's going to produce numbers for the company. So before we get into the methodology, does anybody have any questions? So go ahead.
Oh, I've got one.
Yeah.
In the prior slide, where's your cost of goods sold?
Well, actually, you build that into the product purchase price. So by $88 per purchase covers cost of goods sold and the internal expenses of the company, both the fixed and variable costs.
Very good.
So I price that as a profit at $88. And then I run the marketing program independently, proving that I'm going to grow market share or build better relationships, or both.
Thank you.
Anybody else? So let me show you how we're going to do the course. The first thing I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to develop an initial market persona, and I'll give you a template to do that and videos to do it, of a target market you want to develop. And I'll challenge you to do both a business and a consumer market. The key is, as you go through this, I don't expect this to be perfect. In fact, I plan it's not going to be perfect, because as we go through the rest of the course, the key isn't what do you start with. It's the persona that you end with at the end of the program. So then we're going to go and we're going to look at these cloud-based targeting systems that allow us to quantify a market very exactly and to build sub-segments. And I'll show you how to use different systems to make that happen. And so then what we'll do is we'll look at cluster systems, and we'll look at them both for the United States, but also for 21 different countries, and how you can, what the information you get out of those really give you key market insights, media tendencies, as well as to really define markets. And so we can use both the segmentation, the cloud-based systems and the cluster systems together. And I'll actually show you a couple cluster systems that are brand new. Then what we'll do is we'll use Facebook ads and basically their insight, the audience insight system. And I'll show you how you transition over from segmentation over to behavioral segmentation and how to make those work. And so we'll use what you've learned in the first two systems, both the cloud-based and the clusters, to really use Facebook to best advantage. And we'll talk about how to build that out. And then what we'll do is we'll do final market valuations and really develop a refined persona for your business or for your personal use. The key, though, is that I'm going to give you templates and the instructions that you could build out as many markets as you want. You're not confined to one. I keep it at one for for the actual class. But once you learn how to do this, you can build them out for any of your clients, all the markets your company wants to target, the different products you want to offer, These are universal skill sets and systems that you can use in an unlimited fashion for anything that you want to do. And so it gives you a chance to get real actionable numbers, as I said earlier, and it makes it really easy to define a target market in a very exacting way. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to build a persona. And again, I don't expect you to be able to fill it. I'll give you an Excel template where we can actually build this out. But what we want to do is we want to get either the business or the individual that is your ideal customer. We want a picture of them, a little bit about them. We want to understand their personality, or in the case of businesses, what is driving them forward. What are their preferred channels of that they want to respond to. We will also talk about where you identify some of the things that they watch, or the things that they like, or the products they like, and the goals that you have. And what we're going to do is we'll put those together in a template form where you go through step by step to put together what you know at the first one. And then as you go through the course, you'll be able to fill out more and more of this to build it. The reason personas are so important is that if you're trying to create content and you want to connect with them, the more that you can understand about the ideal customer or customers that you want to develop, the more easy it is to develop really high impact content. So content is really tied closely to what you know. And so understanding how these personas are built and being able to build them yourself is a key skill, and we'll be developing it every step of the way through this program. The next thing we'll do is we'll target consumer markets. I break them apart simply because they're very specialized. But in targeting consumer markets, what we're going to do is we're going to identify and look at the different types of data that are important to defining a market. We'll look at geography, you know, where they live. We could actually target very refined, micro markets, as well as do it internationally. We'll look at demographics to describe both the individual and what I call the household unit, but it could be an apartment or any unit that they have. We'll look at their lifestyle. We'll be able to identify their passions, their hobbies, their interests to define that market. We'll look at key life events that they go through, you know, a life event being retire or decide to go to college or decide to take an online class. These are things that change your life, getting married, having a baby. And we'll talk about that, and you'll see how that can be used. And then we'll finally end up with the most precise stuff, which is behavior and intent for individuals. And we'll use different systems that use these to target a market. One of the first ones we're going to do, you see on the right, and that is cloud-based segmentation systems. And what they do is they allow you to go in and specifically define a target market. If you look up in the upper right-hand corner of this, you'll notice that it has a count. And the count is every individual, in this case in the United States. And then what you do is you go through the different tabs, and I take you through each one. And you start by identifying geography, then defining the individual, defining the household, defining their lifestyle, life stage, and their interests. And as you go through it, the number drops at the top. And so by the time you complete this system, you'll have a very detailed segmentation that you've developed, and you can capture that, and it'll give you an exact count of either the individuals that meet your criteria or the household units that meet your criteria. So you can say, here's exactly how many people there are. And we'll show you how to do that in a step-by-step fashion. And you can create as many of these segments or sub-segments that you want. And you're doing it on a real-time database. These are not estimated counts, they're actual counts. And it's a group that you could actually market to should you want to do it. And so it's, as you understand how this all fits together, this not only works for the segmentation system, it also works for the Facebook advertising. So it's a great way to learn it. The next thing we're going to do is we'll look at cluster systems. And clusters take all of the information that you see here, demographics, socioeconomics, their location, whether they're urban or rural, and their means of transportation, financial measures, and then information about where they live. And it creates a cluster, it's given a great name that represents a unique segment, both in the United States, but also internationally. And so a segmentation system gives you a huge amount of insights for your creative. It helps you build out your persona, and it's really a useful system. Have any of you ever used it, a cluster? I think it'd no. So here's a cluster system. This is one you're going to be using. And this is one that is, sorry. If anybody has a question, go ahead and ask. So this is a cluster system, and so this is called Flourishing Families, and you see it's a B, but there's actually subsegments of 7, 8, 9, and 10, which we will take you through in the course. The neat part about it is it puts together a huge amount of information that's really useful for you. If somebody's doing a chat, let me see. I'm not sure. I can't see your chat right now. I apologize. So anyway, this is the cluster system. And so let me show you some of the features of it. First thing it does is up at the top in the upper right, it identifies the number of households and the number of individuals, in this case in the United States, that meet that criteria. Then what it does is it shows you a representative picture of someone in that persona group. So it really gives you a good idea as to who they are. It then identifies key characteristics in terms of, head of the household, age, type of property, and so forth, that define the group. And on the subsequent pages, they actually take these and break these down. So where you have a head of the household 36 to 45, it'll give it to you in 2-year age bands or 5-year age bands that you can use to say even subsegment it more. Then the cluster over here gives you the key dimensions that define the group and who they are. It gives you the lifestyles, and each one of these at the bottom can be clicked through, but it shows you the things that they like to do in their lives. It then goes through the preferred channels that they use they prefer to respond to you. It also shows you the amount of technology adaptation. Are they early users of new tech, or are they late adapters? And it allows you then to begin to get a really good picture of who these people are, how they live, and what they do. And we can get into some really great segmentation using a cluster system. Then those cluster systems are not only for the United States. Here over on the left, you see that we can actually develop the clusters by country. Each one of these countries can be subsegmented. And in this example, it's showing you housing units at different places in the world that they are looking at the sophisticated singles group. And then over on the right, you have the breakdowns. You'll be able to use these for any country that they study, which is a lot of them. And you'll be able to begin to say, okay, if I wanted to target a specific place, what is the market like for that area? And there are new ones coming on the market all the time. The second system we're going to look at is the personic system. And each one of these is a cluster in and of itself. The reason I put this in here was that you will not only have the downloads that you see on the left to be able to do it, but you'll have it as well as being able to go through to their electronic systems. So for both cluster systems, you'll be able to log on and get the most recent information. But the Personics clusters, the one before that was the Mosaic clusters from Experian. These clusters are also national and international, and they look at different subsegments. So if you're into insurance or financial services, they have clusters built especially for that. And so the thing I like about their system, this just came on the market about 3 months ago with a new update. This is active lifestyle people. And you notice that we not only have the demographics that are on the right of the cluster, we have the map that shows you up on the, or that's on the left, up on the right, you see a map, as well as below that, you see specific demography of the people. But you also, if you look down the middle, that identify what are the key significant things that happened in their lives as they were growing up. Where do they shop? What sort of digital do they use? What sort of financial and so forth? It rolls you through all sorts of detail that'll help you build a really good understanding of who these individuals are and what they do. The final piece that we'll do in the class is we will actually go through and use the audience insights, and I'll also have some other social tools. The interesting part is that you can go through and identify different behavioral groups in the interest category, and we'll talk about how to do that. But down at the very bottom, there's this advanced button that you see on the left. Under that are all the traditional demography that we use with all the other systems. And so as you go through it, you'll see how this all connects together, because these are all massive cloud-based online databases, and they just show you different aspects of your target market and allow you to look at things, in a different way. Then targeting business markets. We'll also use some advanced systems that are both global as well as focused in the United States. The three things to keep in mind here is that we define businesses by their industry, and we have a standardized classification system, the SIC system or NAICS. I'll teach you both. Then we identify the company dimensions. Where is it in the supply chain? What type of company is it? Who are they targeting? And then the final piece is we will identify who do you want to talk to, which could be the decision makers or the influencers or the users or all of them in your marketing. And so we'll show you how to use systems to target that. Basically, what we can do is we can identify at the bottom, we have industries, and then we can break down companies as to whether they're a mature company, growing, emerging, or a small business, and give you insights as to who they are. And we can actually target different sorts of corporations. We can target women-owned businesses, and then we can target very specifically the individuals in the companies and get a live count as to how many there are in any area you want to develop. In terms of our segmentation system, we'll show you how to use SIC, NAICS codes. The website's really useful. For some of my entrepreneurial students at Northwestern, that was a business breakthrough. By seeing the structure of businesses nationally and internationally, they were able to build a strategy. We'll also use InfoUSA for business to get segmented accounts. And then we will spend a lot of time, or a great deal of time, on the DB Hoover system, where you can identify any industry, any business, and you can actually just put it in a business name. It'll tell you what industry they're in. And then you could get quantity counts for any size business anywhere in the world. And so this would be the InfoUSA type system, where it basically starts with what is your SIC code or what is your NAICS code, and then the rest of it is built out from there. When we go to the Hoover system, or the Dun & Bradstreet, essentially it's an international system that can tell you the SIC codes, the NAICS codes, and it'll show you how to bore down into a company or to find an industry to understand who's in it and what's going on. It also gives you great free industry profiles and analyst report for your industry. And so basically you'll get a lot of hands-on experience in the course, give you a lot of targeting expertise using a variety of systems for both business and consumer. We'll develop and show you how to build audience insights that are important to your marketing. We'll quantify them, we'll value them. Then you can use these spreadsheets and these systems all that you want. So it's basically a course designed for you and built around you. And it gives you a lot of insights that'll drive your whole business. And one of the things is you can always contact me at the end of every video. I give you my email address, and you can also use my Northwestern email address. And you can also contact me through Twitter. This course is really for you. It's designed to help you get to the markets that you want to get to. We'll start by profiling your ideal customer. Then we'll build out the target markets around who you know will bring you success. So enjoy the program and let me know if you have any questions. Also, you can join the program now at any time if you want to participate in it.